Good morning, Heathlands, and welcome to week 73 of Heathlands at Home extended broadcast. So far this week we've had an exercise session on Monday at 11:15.
Our life with Helen Tuck was on Monday at 1, this week making penguin finger puppets in support of National Penguin Day on 20th of April.
It was actually, that was actually my idea for to do finger puppets. Anyways, if you guys have any suggestions in the comments for which animal finger puppet you should do next, let us know. Okay.
On Tuesday we had
Sports Fanatics with 1:30 with Jackie.
Connor wrote this week's quiz and it was a hard one.
Ooh, next week Jackie is trying out a new format for her sports quiz.
All 20 questions will be based around 6 different football teams.
So every answer will be a multiple choice from the 6 teams.
So, like, if you're into football and you've got a favourite team, then get researching.
But no cheating.
But no cheating. We've got the rules here. Remember? Got the rules.
Yeah. Good point.
So anyway, coming up next day from Heathlands at Home.
Live lunch from 12 p.m. to 12:45 p.m.
Then class cooking social is live today at 1.
Today they are making mushroom quiche.
Or quiche.
Or quiche.
Or quiche.
Quiche. That's what I tend to do with a little bit of hand gesture, from Italy. Quiche.
Quiche.
Get that.
Okay. So anyway, join Paula in place of Jackie. It was last minute, and everyone on the class cooking course. Well,
We're going up right now, yeah.
A guest presenter with a craft to share with you guys.
So far, we've had videos from myself and Mark, Helen Tuck, Helen Walsh, and Susan.
So today we have a video from one of these people, but who could it be this time?
I've got another paper craft video for you today, showing you how to make these lovely paper feathers. And they're really simple. You just need some scissors and some paper, and you can create these really delicate decorations. Depending on the kind of paper you use will depend on the effect you get. So if you use a thicker card, like on this one, you'll get much more stable decorations. If you use a lighter weight paper, they'll be much more delicate, but both have their appeals. So let's have a look at the materials that we're going to need. We don't need a lot in the way of the materials. We just need some bits of paper or lightweight card, a pair of scissors, a pencil, and something sharp and pointy. A knitting needle is ideal. You don't want the point to be too sharp because we're going to be using it to draw on the paper, but it needs to be able to make a good indentation. So a knitting needle is ideal, or if you've got a ballpoint pen that's run out of ink, so an old biro, that will work really well. Or you can just use your pencil, so don't worry if you haven't got something like this to hand. You might also find it useful to have a template. I've got some that you can use, or you can draw your own. So let's get making. If you're using the template, the first job is to cut that out. So I've just drawn mine on a bit of scrap paper, but you can print yours out, or you can use mine as a guide and draw your own. If you're drawing your own, what you might want to do is draw straight onto the back of the paper you're going to use for the feather. But I'm just going to show you how to use the templates if that's what you decide to do. So I'm just very quickly cutting out my feather shape. Pop that to the side, cut out the little gaps. There we go. And we're ready for the next step. So choose the paper that you want to use. I'm going to use something nice and lightweight so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use this bit of green paper. And as you can see, I'm just using offcuts from other projects. So you don't need lots of big bits of fancy paper. You can just use what you've got left over for this. And using my pencil, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just draw around the outline of my templates. If you're finding this is a bit fiddly and it's moving around as you're working, you could always put a little bit of blue tack on your template to hold it in place. And before I lift it off, this is a really important stage. I need to get this middle section in. I need to get the middle of the feather in, but obviously the paper, the template, is between my pencil and the paper I'm using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw along, but I'm going to press really, really hard as you can with that pencil. There we go. You can see I press so hard that the ends snap. That's okay. And down the other side. So all I'm doing is I'm following the lines on the template, but I'm pressing down really hard with my pencil. And when I lift it off, what I can see is that it's left an indentation. So if I just show you that, where I pressed through the template, it has left an indentation. It's left a mark on the paper, which is what I wanted it to do. So this is the bit where your pointy implement comes in. So I'm using my knitting needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over that indented line that I made with the pencil. And again, I'm pressing nice and hard so that it makes a mark right the way to the top of the feather. So you can see on the wrong side it's made a mark, and if I turn it over you can see the mark shows through, and that's really good. That's what I'm after. And if I just gently fold the paper along the indentation, you can see that's starting to make a really nice 3D shape, which is exactly what I'm after. There we go. So I'm going to go back to the wrong side, and using my scissors I'm going to cut out the shape that we've drawn on. So if you're not using a template, obviously you could just draw your feather straight onto the paper, make your indented line with your knitting needle or whatever you're using and cut it out. But if you are using the template, just remember to go over that middle section with your pencil really hard so that you get the marks down the middle. There we go. So now you can see I'm getting a really nice feather shape. So we can see my indented lines where it's showing up, that's making the middle of the feather, and I've cut out the shape. But to make it even more feathery, what we're going to do is we're going to cut all along these bits. Now this bit you need to be a bit careful for, because we need to make sure there's a bit in the middle, the bit where we've got the indented line, that we don't cut. Because if we make a cut from here and a cut from here, what will happen is that that section of the feather will fall off, which isn't what we want. So what we're going to do is just very carefully with our scissors work our way along, making the cuts up to the indented line. So if I draw the line on so that you can see it, there we go. What I've got to make sure is that this middle section, you don't need to do this on yours, I'm just doing this to show you. This middle section, we make sure that the cuts don't go into this shaded area. They can go up to the shaded area, but not into it. So if I just do a little bit more to show you, and just as I say, take your time with this bit. Don't rush it. Take it nice and easy. And you can see also I'm doing my cuts at an angle, because I want the feather lines to follow, the lines of the feather to follow that. I don't want them to go straight across. I'm going to cut some little lines in this little section here as well. Again, making sure that I don't cut through that middle section, only ever cutting up to that shaded area. And I'm doing my cuts really quite close together, so they're probably only about 1 millimetre or so apart. But what you can do, if you're not quite as confident with your scissors, is you can do them much further apart, and this will do two things. This will give you the feathery effect that you're after, you can see there, but it will also be a bit less flippy floppy than if you do very fine cuts. So there are advantages to doing these bigger cuts. So what you could do is you could start off making bigger cuts. So these are about 3 or 4 millimetres apart, about almost 1/2 centimetre, whereas the ones on the other side I've made very fine. If I just do a few more, again, I'm just being really careful not to cut into that middle section, not to cut into that shaded section. What we can see is that where we've got the bigger cuts, the shape stays really quite firm. And then where we've got the little cuts, it's a bit more fluttery, a bit more feathery, if you like. So either is fine, it just depends what effect you want to go for. So I'm going to go ahead and make all my cuts nice and small like this. And then we'll have a look at the finished thing. So I'm just working my way along, and I'm going quite quickly so that you can see the finished feather. But when you do this, you can take your time, go nice and slowly, and see how it works out. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to leave it like this. So I'm going to have one side with really fine cuts and one side with thicker cuts so that you can see the difference. And if I pop a darker background behind it, there you go, purple and green, my favourite combination, you can hopefully see the different feathery effects. So these are really nice and simple to make. You can make lots of them nice and quickly, and you could also decorate them further if you want to. I started adding a little bit of gold paint to this one, add a bit of shimmer. You could decorate them before you start cutting them, or you could add little bits of paint and things afterwards. But whatever you do, have fun, and don't forget to show us how you get on.
As you've seen this week, we've had Helen Walsh making paper feathers.
I know. It was very clever. I think we have some of them in the Pubble Bubble. Have you seen them?
I might have seen them, but I might be a bit too blind to see them.
A bit fluttery. You know, like the feathers.
Well, gonna be quills next time because feathers are made to made for quills.
Yeah, cool. So what and who we will have next week, I wonder.
Still to come this week we have
Quiz of the week, answers and results on Thursday at 1 with Helen.
Remember the quiz sheets are emailed out on Thursday morning with the Heathlands at Home daily email, or you could pick one up with the Heathlands.
You'll have all morning to fill in the answers, then join Helen at 1 to get the answers. But before I can go any further, I think you know what time it is. Ignore that. Rules for Quiz of the Week and Sports Fanatics. No shouting out your answers. No cheating. No Googling. Be honest with your answers. You can only write down one answer, not two, not a dozen, and certainly not 100 million answers. Just one. When you put an answer down, you can't change it. Forfeits are for cheaters. Or cheaters will get forfeits. You choose. Okay, so my two punishments will be seeing as how yesterday was the first of Heathlands Gamers, and the game that we played, my two punishments are going to be based off that. So the first one will be mate drink shots of my choosing.
Oh, watch out.
And the second, I will like tie you up in the lasso, take you to the nearest train track, leave you on it, and then wait for the train to run you guys off.
Well, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit with the train tracks, except you're gonna be my forfeit will be you'll be putting a saddle on your back and made to have people ride you around the Heathlands for an entire day. And what and second forfeit, if we can afford any of this, you either get nerfed or you get paintballed.
Our punishments are harsh but fair.
As always. Anyway, signing with Paula is at 11 on Thursday.
The group will be carrying on learning signs to the elves and the shoemaker.
This has been a great story to sign, as the group are learning a lot of new signs they haven't used before.
Good view. So anyway, Heathlands Book Club with Jeanette and Susan is on Thursday too.
On Friday, to start the day, we have fitness rotation at 10:30. And also, Heathlands Live at 1:30 this week with Helen and Mark. Careful with Benny Beanie.
Sorry, who's trying to do a flip?
Careful, Benny Beanie.
Sorry, guys. So anyway, Heathlands is live this week with Helen and Mark, featuring the ever popular art showcase Extreme. Turn the Max, featuring all the gift card for the week of Heathlands, Heathlands Habitat, and let's not forget the great British Rudolph.
Who could forget that? Which now brings us to the main event of our Heathlands at Home broadcast.
The most popular part of the Heathlands at Home broadcast.
We have yet again another story, and we're so sorry because when I bought this one, I didn't even know the premise of this one, because I thought it was just the writers of the Gruffalo and that was it. I didn't even think. Sorry, guys.
But I might make my own twist on it, you never know.
Which twist is that?
A wood twist.
Would,
Okay.
and would you behave yourself, Mark Green, for that twist?
Well, yes.
Let's just read the story.
Okay, let's just read this. So anyway, today's book is Stickman. Stickman lives in the family tree with his stick lady love and their stick children free. One day he wakes early and goes for a jog. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the dog. A stick, barks the dog. An excellent stick, the right kind of stick for my favourite trick. I'll fetch it and drop it and fetch it and then I'll drop it and fetch it and drop it again. I'm not a stick, why can't you see? I'm Stickman. I'm Stickman. I'm Stickman. That's me. And I want to go home to the family tree. A notice says, dogs must be kept on the lead. At last the game's over and Stickman is freed. He sets off for home with a hop and a twirl. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the girl. A stick, cries the girl with a smile on her face. The right kind of poo stick for winning the race.
I love playing poo sticks, me.
Has everyone got one? Get ready to throw. It's 1, 2, 3, into the river they go. I'm not a poo stick. Why can't they see? I'm Stickman. I'm Stickman. I'm Stickman. That's me. And I'm heading away from the family tree. Stickman is floating. He floats on and on. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the swan. A twig, says the swan. This twig is the best. It's the right kind of twig to weave into my nest. I'm not a twig. Why can't they see? I'm Stickman. I'm Stickman. I'm Stickman. That's me. And I long to be back in the family tree. The nest is deserted and the Stickman is freed. He drifts down the river and sails out to sea. He tosses and turns till the frolicking foam washes him up on a beach far from home. Here comes the dad with a spade in his hand. Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the sand. A mast, yells the dad, an excellent mast. Hooray, there's a flag on our castle at last. I'm not a mast for a silly old flag, or a sword for a knight, or a hook for a bag. I'm not a pen. I'm not a bow. I'm not a bat, or a boomerang. No, I'm Stickman, oh Stickman, beware of the snow. Here comes a boy in a warm woolly scarf. An arm for my snowman, he says with a laugh. I'm not an arm, can't nobody see? I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, that's me. Will I ever get back to the family tree? Stickman is lonely, Stickman is lost. Stickman is frozen and covered in frost. Stickman is weary. His eyes start to close. He stretches and yawns and lies down for a doze. He can't hear the bells or the sweet singing.
Choir.
Or the voice saying, here's a good stick for the fire. Stickman is lying asleep in the grate. Can anyone wake him before it's too late? He dreams of his kids and his stick lady love, then suddenly wakes. What's that noise from above? It starts as a chuckle and it turns to a shout. I'm stuck. Get me out. A stuck man? A stuck man? Now who could that be? Don't worry, cries Stickman. I'll soon set you free. A scratch and a scrape and a flurry of soot. A wiggle, a jiggle, and out pokes a foot. a shove and a nudge, a hop and a jump. And this big lovely man falls into the room with a thumb.
You're not going to say his name?
Nah.
It's Santa Claus. Father Christmas.
Just go with it, okay? Stickman, oh Stickman, you excellent friend. Thanks a million, thanks without an end. Then Stickman helps the big lovely man deliver the
Santa.
No, go with it. Delivers the presents to fast asleep girls and to fast asleep boys. Faster and faster they fly through the sky, till the nice lovely man says,
Santa.
only one more left to go. Stick lady's lonely, the children are sad. It won't feel like
Christmas.
a lovely
Christmas. Christmas.
a lovely night without this stick dad. They toss and turn in the family bed. But what is that clattering sound overhead? Someone is tumbling into their house. Is it a bird or a bat or a mouse? Or could it, yes, could it just probably be? I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, I'm Stickman, that's me. I'm sticking right here in the family tree. And there you have it.
Not even a biased Santa for the last page. Is this how it's going to be? If there's going to be more Stickman adventures and there's going to be more Christmas stuff? Are you just going to keep saying this, the sweet, loving man or something? Right. When it's really Santa, Father Christmas, and the holiday's called Christmas.
I was just doing my own twist on it.
Yeah, until I ruined that twist. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Anyway, we're back again the same time next week with another awesome video.
Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, stay happy, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.